I think to like some younger trainers and stuff that may watch content you put out, may watch content other people put out, talking about stopping unwanted behavior, stopping aggression issues, things like that. And also to some owners, I think it can be misconstrued sometimes as, like you were saying, you don't fix behaviors, but it can be misconstrued as we're fixing the problem. You know what I mean? Especially when dealing with highly dangerous dogs, right? We work with a lot of them also. And there's obviously massive expectations that need to be set with the owner as far as this is what you could expect post-board and train. This dog may go home and be absolutely fucking horrendous for you for the first week. You're going to run into hurdles, this, that. When dealing with truly dangerous, like killers of dogs, where do you have a point you draw the line as far as saying this dog probably should be put down?
Yeah, so probably there was one maybe, God, I keep saying 2 months ago, but it's probably been 6, 7, 8 months ago. It was a Rottie, and it probably should have never been given. The shelter should have never let it out the door.
Sure,
they had to have known the problems. And on day 2 of the new owner having it put her in the hospital. And it was a massive resource garter, and it should have never been allowed out the door. But obviously the shelter didn't have the balls to put the dog down.
Sure.
I mean, nobody wants to do that, but there are absolutely dogs out there that should not be walking the face of the earth. That's why this whole "there's no bad dogs, there's only bad owners" it's the biggest line of bullshit I've ever heard. It's like you haven't met the dogs that I've met.
And regardless of why they turn that way or whatever, like once they exist, they exist. They
exist. And I think also, and it put them in the hospital 3 times in 2 months, and it did a total of 7 bites, and actually bit the husband really bad the day before the board and train, just for reaching over to hug his wife.
Sure.
And I think, and we worked with that dog, and it probably went after us 100 times. And it got to the point where I'm like, there's a difference between dangerous and vicious.
Yeah.
And when you've got 2 kids and softer owners, I said to them, you deserve a dog that you can do everything you were doing, whether it was right or wrong. And they weren't doing anything dramatically wrong. That would never do this. And there are dogs sitting in shelters right now that are probably going to end up being put down because they're going to be there for too long. That would love to be your family dog.
Of course.
And, if you're going to play God, let's do it right.
Yeah.
And this is a dog that shouldn't be returned because they will adopt it back out.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of unethics in the shelter business.
Yep.
And shelters always will be like, I said, trust me, you know it and I know it. The shelter knows it. And that doesn't mean every shelter is bad.
Yep.
But there's a majority of them are.
Yep.
They're money-making machines, and they don't want, obviously they're not going to admit it because,
Sure.
because of a PR thing. So there are dogs that shouldn't be adopted out. So I think it used to be about 1 a year.
Yeah.
I would have to have I think that's another obligation for a trainer, not every trainer. If a trainer's not used to working with aggressive dogs, they should absolutely not be giving that advice.
Yep.
Because we get a lot of dogs that were suggested to be put down that I'm like,
that are fine.
Your dog's one correction away from being pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And they are.
Yeah. All
they
the time.
Are.
All the time.
And there's also dogs that are like, okay, well, it takes the full, 6 weeks, or at least now your dog is manageable.
Yep.
One of the things that I think it's important for folks to understand, at least the impression that a lot of folks have on us, which is not whether they want to have it on us or not. I don't care, obviously. We want dogs to actually make better decisions on their own.
Yep.
So there are dogs out there that do need a higher level of management. And that might be maybe not for you or me, but for a dog owner. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, so, but we know that it's happening because we'll see a dog aggressive dog. We'll put them in social. We'll stand off to the side. So we're not like directly with them anymore. Like they've gone past that stage. And we'll see when they're uncomfortable, they walk away from the situation without any prompting from us.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, you did learn how to make a better choice.
Yes.
And it's not like they looked at us first. It's not like they were afraid of a consequence. They just like, I'm not supposed to do this. I'll move away.
Yeah.
So, because the consequences already happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we're definitely getting dogs to make better choices. And the cool thing about that is the shrapnel effect, meaning a lot of times there's the whack-a-mole effect and the shrapnel effect. So the shrapnel effect is when you stop one or two unwanted behaviors, a lot of that goes across the board and like, wow, I didn't even work on that.
Yeah.
And that's getting
But it's
better.
better. Yeah.
And then you've got the whack-a-mole effect where you've got these dogs that are like,
Stop this,
I
this
stopped
comes up.
this.
Stop this, this comes up.
New thing popped
Yeah.
up. I stopped this, and a new thing popped up.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
there's ways to fix both. There's ways to fix both.